I developed this concept, this idea around fiscal justice to try to define it as a notion that places nature, communities, and people at the center of the decisions on public money, so that the redistribution of resources and hence of power is used to both guarantee the effective exercise of human rights and also repair and reduce the gaps of inequalities. So in a nutshell, it's about the decisions of public money helping and putting the people, but also nature and communities at the center of these decisions and making matters better for the majority and not just for a few people in our world, which is how the current economic and political systems work. Fiscal decisions, which are decisions on public money, matter because they shape our societies. They shape how things work, who pays for what, who doesn't pay for things, but also what that money is used for. So it's central to shape our societies, to shape how economies work, but also it's central in the definition of inequalities, because inequalities are a result of political decisions. And if we decide that we should have this specific way of doing things, we can also decide to switch things up. And that's where money comes first. Money decides who gets what and who benefits from this society. So it's completely linked. There's a direct link between fiscal decisions, and which are decisions of public money, and how it crosses inequalities. Because when you allow in a society for a few people to have most of the wealth and the income that is developed in that society, in that economy, then you're allowing the extreme concentration not only of those resources but also of power, and this determines how our societies work and how democratic they can be. Over the last decades, we've been trying to push for a more democratic society around the world, and one of the main ways we've tried to do that is through what people call the top triad, which is transparency, accountability, and public participation. But it always misses this fourth element, which is pedagogy, social pedagogy, which is nothing matters on this triad if you're not able to make people understand and really get in their daily lives how these decisions affect them, affect their families, affect their communities. So in order for people to get engaged and involved in the democratization of public money, you need people to understand, and you need people to get really engaged with how these decisions affect their lives. And I think social pedagogy is a great bridge, and you can use games, you can use arts, you can use common language to show how this discussion that is disguised as a technical discussion with a lot of jargon is actually the most political discussion we can have in our times. It's not just a matter of them understanding, of us understanding, but also getting a grasp on how we can change them. Because in order to have social change in fiscal decisions, you need for people to actually engage with those conversations. And that's why participation and public organization matters a lot. Because in that way, it's not just an individual decision, it's not just a matter of one person doing a thing, it's a matter of a lot of people deciding together. That's democracy. That's the core of democracy, people deciding on matters that affect their lives in a daily basis. So just understanding this, but also understanding the power that organizing and actually engaging in change in how decisions are made around public money is central to the democratic values that we try to push in our societies. It is really important to understand that fiscal justice is not just a one-size-fits-all matter. It affects different populations and different people depending on who they are, where they live, what their bodies are, what society imposes on them. And that's why a gender focus, but also a youth perspective and a climate perspective is really important, because it's not just a matter of understanding the differences on how decisions affect people in a different basis, but also what kind of sustainable future we can allow to have, and how the climate emergency is affecting our lives differently. So, for example, one great example are the rebates that the Obama administration pushed for in the United States. This decision was looking forward to amplifying the coverage of electric vehicles in the country. The thing is, it was a decision that was mostly effective for male, older people, because those are the ones who actually have the paying capacity to buy a car. So this type of decisions which are good for the environment, which are good, that are trying to push for a difference in societies, didn't actually consider how it crosses the differences based on age and based on gender that we already have in our society. So we're trying to put a neutral decision on a very unequal society, so the result is actually an unequal decision that is actually sustained or either amplified in the future.